What's going on, guys? This is Steve with the MrBigKid channel, and welcome back. Today we're going over this guy right here. This is the Extar EP9 Carbine. Extar EP9 Carbine is an extremely affordable 9mm pistol caliber carbine. Now the big question is this the gun for you? Is this the affordable option for you guys? So we're gonna go through a couple checklist items. We're gonna talk the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's things that I like a lot about it. There's things that I don't like about it. Let's analyze this thing and see if the Extar EP9 is for you guys. Hey guys, look, it's the brass cleaning crew. When I transferred this from the gun store, I opened the box and picked it up. I was shocked with how light this thing is, and not really in a good way. Actually, in fact, it kind of felt a little bit cheap. I've handled and fired so many different types of guns out there. You know, steel guns, aluminum guns, carbon fiber guns, but this guy is all polymer. And I mean, like, this thing is a very polymer gun. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you're talking about this kind of price range. But I will tell you what, now, I don't want you guys to think I'm trashing or bad-mouthing the gun. I've grown to really love this thing, which kind of blew me away, kind of shocked me. I have a friend, he has a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is GB Guns or Graham Bates. We were chatting and he's like, hey, have you tried the Extar? And I haven't. I saw some people do reviews on it, so I was interested. He ended up having one sent to me so I can check it out. You know, he said he was actually very impressed with it. So you know, of course, why wouldn't I want to try that? Transferred it to the FFL, went to go sign the 4473s and all that. And then I picked this thing up out of the box, and the weight of it just kind of shocked me. I'm like, wow, this thing feels light, like super light. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, this thing is almost all polymer. Aside from the actual controls, the trigger, pins, barrel, and bolt, I think that's about it. So keep that in mind. That also plays a huge factor in weight. Now that weight can be a really good thing. Now I'm not sure if you guys remember when I talked about the PSA PA-15, that affordable Palmetto State Armory AR-15. One of the things I loved about it was how lightweight it is. And with all the different guns out there, I've shot guns that were super heavy. And then when you finally get something so basic, so plain, that it's easy to throw around. You don't have any kind of like sentimental attachment. You don't have to worry about scratching your fancy Cerakote job, anything like that. It's kind of refreshing. And I kind of equate this thing to a PSA PA-15. They look nothing alike. It's a totally different platform, but it is an AR-based platform. So AR-9 based platform, but it's proprietary. Let's talk about some of the features on this guy. Then we'll talk about performance. I'll tell you guys what I do like and what I don't like. I added this BCM foregrip right here, and then this, obviously, this is my EOTech XPS2 up top. Yes, the EOTech is worth more than the gun is. This gun can be had for the high 400s, close to 500 bucks. A couple metal parts, obviously the things that need integrity, the things that need to house the parts that go boom are metal, so that's good. Your receivers, your upper, lower receivers, polymer, trigger guard, polymer, which is part of your lower receiver. Your grip right here, polymer. Now this does use a buffer and a buffer tube with the bolt right here. What they've done is it's a mass delayed blowback, and that's actually made this thing one of the softest shooting direct blowbacks I've ever fired. So basically what that means is when this fires, that bolt just blows back, right? But they made the bolt heavier in specific places to make that a lighter recoiling system and a more reliable recoiling system. As far as reliability, I haven't had a single issue with this. It's fed and ejected everything. Last round hold open works great. I've used 3 different magazines for it. I've used actual Glock magazines. I've used the magazines that come with this, the Extar ones. And then I've got a whole buttload of these ETS style mags. I've used the plastic, the full plastic ETS mags, and I've used the new, and I've even used this ETS Omega magazine right here, which actually has steel guts. So it used all the magazines just fine, fed everything, fired flawlessly. This has a 16-inch barrel. The gun weighs 5 pounds. Proprietary wise, and proprietary meaning not interchangeable, that's the way I'm looking at it. Your receivers are proprietary on this. I've tried to kind of flip some things around and see what mates up to what, and this thing is just made its own way. Handguard is proprietary to mate with this receiver. Right over here, so your charging handle's on the other side of the gun, and it does reciprocate, so you want to keep your hands clear of that when you're firing this. The good news is that charging handle is significantly higher in a place that your hands don't need to be. It's not like they're on the handguard and it reciprocates, it's just up here on the receiver. Your hand should be far away from that while shooting anyhow. Now the stock is a pretty basic mission first tactical stock, and it does have a QD sling point right in the back right over here. And there is a QD sling mount right over here on the back of the castle nut area. This isn't really a castle nut, but you know where the castle nut goes. Take this off. So those are all the basic features. It's plain Jane, it's bare bones. But now let's talk about performance and feel. When firing this thing for the first time, I had low expectations, but when I realized how soft this thing shot, and maybe that's because, you know, it's a full length 9mm rifle, and when you add some extra weight, you add some length, you put it on your shoulder, you brace it against your shoulder to shoot, very soft recoil. Compared to the other PCCs that are direct blowback that I've fired, this is the softest shooting one that I own now, and I'm guessing that's because of the mass delayed bolt that this uses. Like I said, they've added weight to the bolt, so it's a heavy bolt, and it actually has a very slow thud kind of feeling of an action. When this thing fires, you can feel that bolt cycle. It's not like a pop pop, it's more of like a kathunka. Is that accurate for you? All I'm gonna say about accuracy is it's as accurate as I am with my shooting situation. I haven't taken this thing out to 200 yards or anything like that. No, I'm just smacking steel targets that are 45 yards behind me. So far, what we've covered is what this is made out of, what the features are of this, my initial impressions. We've covered performance. It's reliable, it's a soft shooter. Now let's talk about some of the ugly and some of the things that I don't like about it. There's a lot of parts. There's overmolding from, you know, the manufacturing process, but it's all polymer. So, you know, where the receivers are mated together and molded, I'm guessing, you know, there's still a line there. You can see on the bottom, there's, you know, manufacturing mold lines there. I'm not a fan of a reciprocating charging handle. I feel like with modern technology, a lot of the guns, most of the other guns that use a side charger don't reciprocate. I do have a couple that reciprocate, but if I had to nitpick, that's one of them. The second thing is how high up they made this charging handle on that receiver. So the problem is, I have an optic right here, and most optics are gonna be wider than the Picatinny rail itself. So what that means is, unless I wanna mount this optic on the handguard, or if I wanna mount it way in the rear of the receiver, this optic is always gonna sit above this charging handle. And the problem is the optic will pinch you. I've tried to find ways around it. I can imagine you can use a riser to bring the optic a little higher off the receiver, but the riser itself would still stick out. The charging handle is just a little too high on the receiver, so finding a way around charging this without pinching your finger is just a matter of just remember to be careful when you're charging it. Thing is, there is a benefit to keeping it off the handguard. Now, what happens with a gun when you put pressure on the charging handle? It's out of battery, right? So if it's on the handguard and you're in some kind of a barricade or barrier and you're pushing that gun against the barrier and it snags that charging handle, your gun's out of battery, it's not gonna fire. Maybe if they can make that charging handle closer to the rear of the receiver, or possibly make the receiver, it's a pretty tall receiver, maybe even a little taller. I really don't know the solution, or maybe just a charging handle with an extended handle that can actually ride out past your optic. Really, my only complaint about this is the initial feel of the gun when I picked it up out of the box, and then the charging handle location. Big thing is this gun for you? All right, let's talk about pros and cons. Now, and then the neutrals. Neutrals, it's lightweight. A lot of people like that, and a lot of people want something heavy that has a better feel to it. Neutral, it's polymer. Polymer is not necessarily a weak material. If it's used in the right places and manufactured properly, it can be extremely durable. Think about all the guns on the market that are made out of polymer. Con, the actual rail, the Picatinny rail on top is also polymer. The more you take optics on and off, you can crush the rail a little bit if you do it enough. And I can see a little warping just from switching optics. I've used my Viridian green dot, and now I have my EOTech on here. Cons: charging handle, just not really a fan of either location, so charging the charging handle is just a little tricky. It's actually pretty modular. You can change the buffer tube, you can change it does have M-LOK on it, so you can add M-LOK accessories. It does have a 1/2 by 28 threaded barrel, so you can mount pretty much any 9mm muzzle accessory you want. It does use AR controls, so you can actually use an AR trigger on this guy if you want to upgrade your trigger, something with a lighter trigger pull, a trigger that you prefer other than the standard mil-spec trigger, you can do that. And the pistol grip itself is interchangeable, so you can change this out for any other pistol grip you want. Price is only $500, and you are getting a very good performing gun for $500. Shoots well. It's affordable. When I first shot this thing, the first thought that popped in my head was camping gun. I like going camping a lot with our friends, and I like to have something a little more than just a handgun on me, just to keep in the camper at nighttime when we're sleeping, whichever. I feel like this gun fits the bill perfectly. You can use these big sticks right here. You have capacity. Honestly, this is a perfect camping gun. It's a perfect truck gun, to be honest. And that comes down to how it's lightweight and the fact that it's affordable. If somebody stole this thing, I'd be pretty bummed. I'd file a police report, but I wouldn't cry about it. You know, overall, this isn't a piece of art. It's not exactly the type of thing that you'd show off to your friends, but I mean, it's a tool. And if you need something that's just a tool, something almost rudimentary, it works, it functions, it's reliable. This is a pretty good option. I think it looks a lot better than some of the other stuff out there on the market. Particularly high points. I think this looks way better than the high points and isn't that much more. And I feel like the construction quality feels a little better on this guy than the high point, and especially because it takes actual Glock mags. So you got a lot of capacity options. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it, and have a good one.